Got it.
We do have work, and so let's consent agenda. I need a motion, please. That's okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the
Second that.
January 18, 2023 meeting.
Okey dokey.
Seconds that.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call, please.
Peterson,
Yes.
Winterfeld,
Yes.
Mike Parsons.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, financial update, Brenda. Brenda.
Is she muted?
Oh, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So, we have the second quarter financials are ready for you guys, and everything is just on page 3 for me to note to you. First item up on top, you guys can see the cash balance at MCLA Bank shows a negative balance. It technically wasn't a negative balance. It never went under about 100,000. But we had an in-transit transfer between the LGIP account and our checking account. Due to the holidays and LGIP not allow us to do a same-day transfer, it ended up being the next day after the holiday, which was January 2nd. So
Okay.
just to make note, we were never under 100,000, so we were fine. And then the other item I just wanted to show you guys at the very bottom of the same column, it shows that we did pay off our debt. So that debt of the revenue series bond loan is now paid in full. And that's the only significant item I wanted to point out to you guys. If you have any questions.
Anybody have any questions?
No.
Okay, looks good. Thanks, Brenda.
Perfect, thank you. The next item on my financial update is February is the month that we set the budget committee meeting for the fiscal year 24 budget. And I suggest that we do April 26th as the first budget committee meeting.
Okay.
I have that calendarized. Is that going to be a noon meeting or an evening meeting?
No.
Sorry, yeah, it's a Wednesday noon meeting, so it's the Wednesday after our Wednesday board meeting.
Gotcha.
So we'll have 2 meetings in a row.
Right.
But yeah.
Yeah, that's typically, excuse me, when we do the budget committee is the Wednesday after the board meeting in April. So it falls on this year.
12 noon or 11:30.
No.
Will be lunch both days.
Yeah.
Cool, 11:30 then.
11:30. Food will be provided.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay, that works. Anything else, Brenda?
That's all I got.
Okey dokey. Next we have project updates.
Go. Antelope Road is moving along. We received the cost estimate required by the railroad for boring and installing a new pipe. For those of you who are familiar with this, the railroad likes to charge us a monthly, I call it a lease, but it's like an occupancy fee, they call it. And it's a couple $1,000s, I believe, a year. But we've been doing our due diligence on what our actual rights are in that space based on the easements and the dedication of right of way and all those sorts of things. And it's been kind of Carl's dove into that pretty hard. But we've been talking to Joe Keller about it as well. So we're still in that process. We don't quite know how that's going to all shake out yet. But that being said, the design is pretty dang close. We submitted to the county for their comments. We're working on scheduling them on that project because they're going to come back through an overlay Antelope Road after the fact. So what we're going to do is work with them to go through before they come back and overlay. But the the railroad, the SRF funding, all that stuff plays into the schedule. It's kind of makes it kind of tough, or challenging. Let's just put it that way. Jayco pump station number 6, that one's ready to go. We're just working on permitting with ODOT to work out in the ODOT right away for a short amount of time. Jayco pump station number 2, not a whole lot going on with that project. I'm trying to pay attention to it basically. Highway 99, Rose to Glenwood. We are just in the final process of getting ODOT to approve our relocations for reimbursement. Siphon abandonment. We are wrapping up the bid documents and final plans to put that out to bid this week, hopefully, if not this week, next week for a March bid. Same thing with the fiscal year 2023 CIPP project. We're going to get that out to bid so we can get both of those projects constructed before the end of the fiscal year. Lagoons, we're working with our electrician. We just received a scope and fee from them to install conduit and all the electrical wiring, the new power service, and run all the lines we need to basically run the aerators at this point. And then everything will need for the future building. There's all the other process out there. West Valley Road, View Road and Talent. That one's basically wrapped up. We just need to pay the city of Talent their incentive funding that we had promised them for that project. And then that will be done. Cummins Stormwater Facility, to my knowledge, the owners have signed the plat and it just needs to be recorded and we will be the owners of that property. And a new easement, a new access easement across the adjacent property. And we're pushing that one through pretty quick. Dashton in our office is working on the flood study on that to submit to city Talent for floodplain review. 7th Street Stormwater Facility, not a whole lot of news on that one. We're going to have a meeting with the design engineer out of the treatment plant to talk all things UV disinfection with a couple vendors. And that meeting is going to take place, I believe, next week. And since it's not in here, I thought I'd mention, I can't remember if it was mentioned in the last meeting, but our Stormwater Advisory Team SWAT has adopted the revisions to the design manual that you all had approved. And that is a done deal. We're now going to move forward with all of those requirements. That was a big undertaking, by the way. I don't know what you guys are familiar with it, but that changes a lot of requirements for new development as far as stormwater management goes. And then along with that process and the reshuffling of the organization, I've been working with myself, and Carol's done a bunch of work on putting some of the development services, letters, approvals, all of that stuff, and consolidating our sewer and stormwater approvals all into a more streamlined package. So
Good. It'll make it easier for you guys, and it'll make it easier to meet the requirements of different things too, if we have it all.
yeah. The biggest thing, I mean, it's a lot of work up front, but it really helps us and the development community because it just takes all the confusion. Hopefully it takes a lot of confusion out of it.
Good work, guys.
That's it for me.
Any questions, you guys?
Nope.
Okay, thanks. And next, O&M updates, please.
All right, good afternoon. Aside from the collection system footages, things of note, another banner month out at the lagoons, received 344,065 gallons of septage, 39,780 gallons of porta potty waste, and 40,062 gallons of fog for a total revenue for the month of $63,586.05. So I think that's top 3 at least, if not tops. So fantastic month for that. Special cleaning, RVSS system, 44 equipment hours and 81 labor hours were spent on special cleaning for a total cost of $5,601.90. Some things to note in the pump stations, there's nothing to report, and that's actually pretty remarkable. The windstorm we had a few weeks ago, we had no significant issues whatsoever. And again, that's a testament to the system integrity and all of the fine upgrades that we've made over the years that the board's been a part of allowing us to make, and it really does make our lives a lot easier on the backside. So we appreciate that. Vehicles and equipment. Unit 32 was back in the shop. They have remedied the crankshaft sensor issue, and we have the truck back, and it's been functioning normally for the last week. So that's good news. The Shriko easement flusher, it has been auctioned off officially. It was the award-winning bid was from a company out of Canada. So they've already paid for it, so hopefully they'll be picking it up soon. I don't have a final number for you because the state of Oregon takes a cut, but the actual bid, final bid was $1,575. So they take roughly about 16% of that and send us a check for it. So,
Is doing
so
it
next,
well for you, Shane?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Going through the state and auctioning it off that way, does that work well for you? Time-wise and everything?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that was, Carl gets the credit for that. That was his idea to do that. So far, I think it's been very good as far as the money we're getting. I honestly think that selling that easement flusher, it outperformed my expectations and probably what I would have sold it for. So that's good. The next things that we're going to be auctioning off are the two dump trucks, the 2006 and 2008 Volvos. So that's going to probably be a testament to see where the market is. I was kind of hoping to get somewhere around $75,000 each for those trucks. So we'll see. But so far, the experience, the state of Oregon has been very helpful. They're easy to get a hold of. I've been in contact with them several times because I messed a few things up along the way, and they've been a great resource. And I think it's a great relationship thus far.
Okay, good. Good. Any other things? Anybody have any more questions for Shane?
How much did you get for the flusher?
It's a little walk behind flusher. We got the official bid was $1,575, but the state of Oregon will send us a check minus their cut for their administrative costs and whatnot. And generally, it's about 16% is their cut. So I'm figuring we'll get a check for around $1,350 or so.
Oh, doesn't sound like it to me.
It doesn't sound like much.
It's gonna cost,
We didn't get much.
it's more than that to ship it up there.
Oh, you know, we sold the old box van. We got $18,800 for that. Plus they paid a $2,000 and some odd dollar fee. So, and that was a 2004. So they paid like $21,000 total. And then they had to have it shipped to Florida. So I think that we way overachieved on that. So like I said, the amount of money that we're generating so far from this, I think has been a fantastic experience. And I've kind of had the bar set high for the dump truck, so we'll see how that goes. But I was hoping to get $500 for the flusher. Yeah, it's 1994, it's old, and you know, we had to get it running. It sat out there. We constantly would, you know, fire it up and whatnot. But it did take a half day to get it running again and good operating condition. And so, yeah, I think it's good. I don't think there would have been for anybody around here, honestly. And someone probably would have just bought it for the engine that was in it and done something with that and threw the rest away. So the company that we sold it to in Canada, I think it was like Lethbridge or Alberta, Canada, and they're an hydro excavation company. So I think they have what looks to be on Google Maps anyway about flusher pumper trucks. And they look like they specialize in hydro excavation around utilities and whatnot. So I think they probably have a use for that that'll keep on going. It's a good machine. I think it has a lot of value to somebody who can use it every day, no doubt.
Sounds good. Okay, next, manager's report.
Manager's report. Well, as Carl says at the beginning, I am taking his place today, since he is on vacation. The first thing he wanted to talk about was for budget preparation, it's COLA, health, retirement, savings accounts, and other items. He mentions in the employee benefit proposal memo that the board directed him to get some more information, comparisons to other agencies, and what he found was we have the best healthcare benefits and the worst retirement benefits in the region. Said that
We don't have that, I guess.
What?
We don't
Oh, you
have-
should have this email.
Yeah,
in
it was-
your-
Is that in there?
It's
in the
down
packet. It's down. It's
Oh, there it is,
just past the
sorry.
Manager's report.
Yeah.
So, and, but I'm just summarizing, summarizing, that's a good word. But if you want me to just go to the end, I can too. But he said that the employee contributions to healthcare and retirement are considered when doing salary comparisons, but the employer contributions are not. With healthcare, we go through Special Districts Insurance Services, SDIS, and we get the best that they have, and RVSS pays 100% of the premium, which is about $2,400 annually to each employee's health
And that's highly
reimbursable
unusual
account. Highly unusual,
for
most
any company to pay. 100%.
everywhere, correct, yeah. And I'm not sure how familiar the two new folks are with the history of why we are doing that. Has to do with, in 2016, the union wanted to, anyway, they backed out of Rogue Valley Sewer based for certain reasons. And the board decided that they wanted to support the employees. So the board decided to pay the full premium for all employees. So it was, thank you very much on behalf of the
You're welcome.
employees.
There may be a day when we can't do that, but
Right.
right now.
Right now it isn't, yeah. So to compare, he said most other public agencies have a union of some kind, and they purchase their health insurance through the union. And all other agencies only pay a portion of the health insurance premium from 5% to 15%. And most other agencies also have a form of health care reimbursement, but not as generous as what we have. So then, and we also have for retirement, we have 401A, which is the government equivalent of a 401K. The employer, RVSS, pays 8.6%. The employee is responsible for contributing 6% of their salary. And they also have, the employees also have, which I take advantage of, another account called the 457. And I understand that both of those it's all pre-tax money that goes into those. Yeah. Carl found that Eagle Point is the only local agency that does not use PERS.
I don't think,
That's kind of a shock.
Yeah, that's what he found
I
anyway.
don't think RVTV does either.
He might not have used those. He said local cities, I guess.
Yeah, if I look at
for
the
pers-
cities,
yeah,
yeah,
those are
that's true.
Cities and so, and then after, there's certain tiers for PERS depending on when you're hired. And then if those are hired after 2003, they're on the Oregon Public Service Retirement Plan, which has two parts, a pension and an individual account. Under that plan, employees are to contribute 6% of their salary. But what Carl found is that all of the local public agencies pay that for them. So the employee is not out that 6%. It appears. Let's see, for the pension portion. Oh, retirement age is set at 65, or if you've worked for 30 years, you can retire at 58, as early as 58. And an employee with 30 years of service can expect to receive about 45% of their final salary as a pension, which is quite generous, it seems. And that pension that is paid by each city is calculated as a percentage of payroll. Phoenix pays 11.4%, Ashland pays 22.7%, and the rest of the cities are in between those two rates, percentages. And he mentions in this paragraph that it is difficult, and I could go to that so people can see what I'm reading. Difficult to compare them because of the way, because of the way the 401A is dependent on how the investments earn money, and the he was saying if an employee had an average return of 5% on their investment and withdrew the same as what PERS pension would perform, they'd run out in 5 years. While if their investment returned 9%, they'd have money until they died, he thinks. Depending on when they die. So retirement health care. Right now, our personnel policy includes if you retire at over 63 and a half, you get 100% of your COBRA paid until you reach the eligible Medicare age, which is currently 65. We do have a retirement health savings plan, but it's only for management right now that is out of payroll, and those who have a lot of PTO, vacation times, whatever, PTO, that 50% of the overage of the maximum, I guess, goes into that. Plus, if when you retire or leave employment here at Rogue Valley Sewer, anything over 120 is also contributed to that plan at a similar rate. Let's see, and the managers contribute 3% of their wages to this plan. Carl said he couldn't find any examples of other agencies offering that kind of care, that kind of health retirement savings account. However, with PERS, the employees can buy their COBRA based on the number of years of service, which ranges from 17% for an employee with 8 years of service to 35% for an employee with 30 years of service. So remember that when we get down to his proposal for the retirement health. So his proposal is an attempt to improve retirement benefits for the employees, to bring them closer to what PERS employees enjoy without incurring any heavy expenses associated with PERS, meaning the wages portion of it, I'm assuming. Under his proposal, we would set this year's cost of living adjustment to the CPI plus 3%. Last year's CPI was 7.5%, but the COLA given to staff is only 5%. The additional 3% this year would make up for last year's difference, which would be applied to all employees. And then he'd amend the retirement health savings plan for non-exempt employees to include the 3% payroll deduction into the retirement health savings account, which would make the plans the same for both. Exactly. This next, let's see, and then what he is suggesting is amending our early retirement incentive policy to include the following, and after age 60, the percent of what an employee might pay is listed in this table, 10 to 15, when they retire early service. 10 to 15 years of service, Rogue Valley Sewer would pay 20% of COBRA. Up to 20 years, 25%, up to 25 years, 30%, up to 30, 35% of COBRA. And if you've worked more than 30 years, up to 40%. And the subsidy would terminate when the employee becomes eligible for Medicare. Let's see, and he projected that that cost would be approximately $36,500 per year for the let's see, said slightly, based on the ages and tenures of our current staff, there will be slightly more than 5 employees eligible for the incentive in any given year. And based on the current cost of our health insurance is $36,500.
How do you do slightly more than 5? Is that 6 or is that?
Slightly more than 5. I think he's taking an average of that.
Yeah, I'm thinking.
I have a list, but you know.
It's 5 and a half.
I'm thinking, you know.
Right. So one thing to, and it's not quite done yet. He said the decision on cost of living adjustment will have an impact on the coming budget. The cost of living right now as of January, which is what we base, what we go to is 6.4%. So
It's less than last year.
less than last year, yes.
That's weird.
It's been going down a little bit.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
Might not feel like it, but it seems to be from whatever they're looking at. So with the board's approval, we'll prepare the budget based on the proposal of the 6.4 plus 3.
Yeah, because the 3 would be going into the retirement stuff.
Right, exactly.
No.
And the final
I'm not
decision-
sure about that.
Well, 3% for those who don't have already
Right,
a payroll deduction for that.
right.
Would
You
go
gotta kind of
into-
keep them separate. maybe.
Huh?
You gotta keep the 3% proposals separate.
Well, there's only one 3% proposal, and that is, well, what he's considering is, or proposing to you is the cost of living plus 3%. And that 3% would be a permanent thing, I believe. The cost of living, of course, fluctuates.
Changes.
And so that would be in the budget if you all approve of that going into the budget. And of course, discuss that. One other thing that I asked Carl about was for those, there's 2 of us who are over 60, one who's going to be 65 and a half within the next couple of months. The proposal that he has here, I asked him if this proposal for the subsidies for the health insurance after termination of service here would be in addition to the current 100% at 63 and a half retirement, or if it would replace it.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yes, his thought was it would replace it. Those employees, I'm one of them, who right now I'm more than 30 years. And at 65 and a half on December 31st, 2025, would be not get the 100%. There is one employee who would be 65 and a half, 63 and a half, I apologize, this fiscal year, this current fiscal year. I don't know what his or her plans are for retirement, but I don't know how happy he'd be if there was a large change like this, but just what Carl suggested is I ask the board to discuss that as well. But also management, we met yesterday at our weekly meeting and they wanted to discuss this with Carl, partly for long employment advantages, hiring people who want
Yeah.
to come and stay. So, and that's more the, well, that is, it's also this premium subsidy too. So anyway, if you are okay with the CPI +3, we can get that in the budget. If you'd like to discuss anything at all, of course, that's up to you to discuss that. And if you have any questions, I can do what I can to answer them for you.
Well, that's,
Are you okay with the CPI +3?
well, yeah, yes. I think the thing that, when I started looking at it again with what you just brought to my attention, Joe, is that we pay the 100% now, the premium. And then if we do this, then it's down to a lot less than that.
And this is if, with the retirement age of 60, and I'm thinking Carl chose that age because the retirement accounts are, is it vetted? I don't know the right word, but you can retire at 59
Yeah,
and still then pull your money out
yeah,
of that without penalty.
Yeah.
At 59.
It's 55 actually for Mission Square.
Oh, it's 55 now, okay.
Mission Square.
Should have asked you instead.
so,
55.
because basically, I think it sounds pretty good. Except I always hate to go backwards on something. But the other thing is being financially responsible for in the future with doing this. How well is it gonna work? I think it's a good incentive to keep people to a certain degree. But I don't want to do a disservice to the people we've had for a long time now either. So
So you're talking now about retirement,
retirement.
health insurance.
Yes.
Change.
Yes.
So I think that's pretty easy to accommodate. We set
We
it up.
can do grandfather's things.
Exactly, so
Right.
the people that are currently eligible to receive a higher benefit,
Right.
they to retire within the next, whatever it is, 5
Yeah.
years. that-
Yeah. We could say something like 5 years should cover it. We probably even say.
Yeah, what period would cover it?
Well, I'll tell you, I don't know that part. I didn't anticipate that question, but I did, so right now, two employees within the next 3.5 years are eligible for the early retirement. 2 more employees would be 60 within the next fiscal year. So, so then that would fit into this with 20, well, by then it'd be over 23 and almost 12 years respectively of longevity. So, and then there are a number who are going to be, well, between 55 and 60. There's about 5 of them, 4 or 5 of them in the next fiscal year. So just a FYI. So I also did today based on, because he said that based on the current cost of health insurance premiums for an employee and spouse, this is right underneath the little table. The subsidy would average 36,500 per year. And what I did here, I also took the current rates for one person and one person's insurance and the couple's insurance or couples and family, I guess it would be considered, is that right?
No, that's just couples.
Just couple, so there's a family as well.
$3,000.
Okay, well, I didn't go that far, but for 1 year, an annual amount for a single would be 12,180, and for a couple would be 24,336. So 1.5 years would be about the 36,500, what I guess here for a couple. Just to give you as much information as I can. That was, yeah, the majority of our staff is under 50 at this point, so.
On the retirement thing, we just want to write it up so that the employees that are currently eligible to receive a higher benefit under the old plan are penalized
Yeah,
under the, the new plan.
right. And I think we should be able to do that. We could put a cap on it and say these people are grandfathered and then go forward with the rest.
Okay,
It's not easy, though.
right,
No,
Do
nothing's easy.
you have one insurance carrier for both your management staff and your employees?
it's all the same insurance,
Yeah, because it's
It
always,
hasn't changed.
has not changed, we're going through special
That's what
districts.
caused a huge problem with the city, Central Point.
Yeah.
Is because their insurance for management staff jumped for the management staff about $60,000 a year. And the only way they could be fair, especially if you're a management staff retiring within the next year, there was no way to compensate fairly for that person to retire early. Because we had Teamsters, they're still paying Teamsters insurance
Right,
on the officers. Management staff was the same insurance carrier. When they changed several years ago, and now they changed to a higher premium for the management staff, it blew everything out of proportion. I think they're still trying to figure it out.
I think,
I'm sure,
And the management staff is pissed off because they lost a lot of benefits on this new plan. The old plan had, if your wife and you're retired wants to have a spa, they pay for it. New plan, don't pay for it. Old plan pays for so much of your glasses. New plan, the deductible's higher than what you're gonna get paid.
oh, wow,
So everything changed.
Right.
So the philosophy there and the rumbling was, it doesn't pay to become a member of staff, even though the salary's higher. You're gonna lose your shorts when you retire. You have to pay for the majority of your own health insurance. They couldn't find a plan. They've been better off paying the $66,000 a year more for that insurance package for the management staff. You would save probably 5 weeks of pulling hair out. People over here getting pissed off, people over here getting pissed off. It's like a real union battle there right
sure,
we're pretty lucky because everybody's the same now.
now. Yes.
And then and the other thing, when we make this other adjustment that everybody can pay into that healthcare retirement thing, then it really is more equal, which, I mean, there should be some perks because you're a manager, but I like things, I don't know, I like things more equal.
They also offered a Visa card for the management staff, that you could spend up to $1,500 a year on things if it qualified to be paid by the Visa card.
Right?
Nothing qualified to be paid by the Visa card. And you don't get your money left over, you don't spend.
yeah, we have the same thing, we have it's called the cafeteria plan or
Something like
125
that.
plan. that sort of thing.
VRV,
We have a very similar thing that, and daycare is also something that can be included in that. Those are and it's available to all employees. They have to contribute to that,
Right.
but I believe that's also pre-tax dollars. Is that right?
I think this card was, yes.
Yeah, so,
Long
Most
as
of
it's
that
health,
stuff
as
is.
long as it was health,
right, it met the requirements of the plan.
yes, yes.
Yeah, and then we have that too. All employees have that.
Yeah. I know that's what my son has. And I don't know, I like the old days. I had good insurance in the old days. So it's harder now. It's more complicated. And old lady insurance is complicated sometimes. Okay, so we needed to, what all are we gonna tell Carl? That basically,
I think we should discuss it first.
okay, that's fine, let's discuss it. Go for it, Mr. Roger, please.
Well, I guess starting where we were, or, I mean, are we all okay with the years of service chart? Making a modification to our retirement health insurance benefit subsidy.
And see, that's just from the time they retire until they reach Medicare age 65.
That is correct.
It's from age, yeah, and it can start as early as 60.
Right, if they leave before they're 60, they don't get any of the benefit, but in this case, if they leave after the age of 60, so 60 in a day, I suppose, then depending on how many years they've worked at Rogue Valley Sewer, they would get that associated percentage of subsidy paid by Rogue Valley Sewer Services.
I'm good.
And the current policy is after 63 and a half, it's 100% paid. So the question is,
For about a year and a half.
yes, for about a year.
18 months.
Yeah.
I'm good with it also.
So you would like to have Carl work up and I know that the managers are wanting to talk to Carl as well, but for this portion of it and the current policy of 63 and a half plus for 100%.
Yeah.
You'd like to keep that for
To grandfather a certain, because that's what was
right,
has been expected.
right.
And then they go with this new, because I mean, if you think about it, there's not too many places that pay for your insurance once you retire, or even a portion of
And why are we encouraging people to retire before, retire at 60?
it. Yeah.
And we are creating an incentive to retire at 60 by
Yeah.
doing this, which I don't know if that's the best thing for a company.
That is a true saying, and because it's one of those things that can bite you, because you have those things to encourage people to come to work here and stay here, but only until they're 60, and then they get goodies to leave.
We have police officers now that retire after 25 years at the age of 49.
Oh, yeah. Chris Allison, she's the same age as my daughter, because they
Yes.
went to high school together.
My daughter as well, yeah.
And she's gonna, my daughter would love to retire, but it isn't gonna happen.
Her husband's also retired
Yeah,
as well,
yeah.
but he's older. Wow. I'm comfortable with it.
I'm comfortable with, okay, well, good.
I wish I would have had this
Because it brings
opportunity.
it closer to what public employees
Yeah,
Yeah,
have right now, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
That retirement insurance portion, yes.
yeah, and that's good, because that's who we have to fight for employees is that sector most of the time. Not always, but most of the
when
time.
I was 25 and I saw this package, I'd say, I'm never gonna leave that company ever again, get these kind of benefits. Better than the fire department.
So,
Well, on the other hand, if a public employee retires at 60, I don't think they're getting any, they can retire at 60, but they're not getting any premium subsidy.
I don't think so either.
Would you like to table this and think about it, table this for next month?
I can tell you that I wouldn't be ready to vote, so to speak, or, make a recommendation on the things we're gonna come to without a full board.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a good point there. It would be nice to have Jim and Mike here.
Mhm.
That, because this is a big thing. And
Okay.
that's good.
So let's table that and then move up the sheet to the 3% payroll deduction for the non-exempt employees.
Right,
If you're okay with that, Chair.
Yeah.
else?
And I think it's a good idea
The decision,
to put this, to make it equal for the non-exempt employees. I have a small concern about, they've got a 3% raise in a way, and management
Didn't get it.
did.
Yeah. Cause that's kind of,
it's
If
kind of
you-
the opposite of that, actually. 3% would be for the CPI.
No, we're
plus-
not talking about the 3% CPI yet.
Well, no, that's not, that 3% is not, well,
We're just talking
for,
about.
for
the
some it would be, right,
retirement health.
and we're already paying that 3% in. Managers are. Just keep that in mind.
From our income, not
From
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 our
our income,
business.
right.
Yeah.
And this, right, and that would give, this additional 3% would, for the first year, give the employees that 3% to pay into their own retirement health savings account.
so they get an increase, but the increase would go to their,
Right.
Yeah.
That's spendable.
yeah, it's not spendable.
But
And not
it's the
taxable.
equivalent of a 3% raise
Yeah,
in effect, right, is going to union employees.
Yes.
So the management and my statement.
Well, not
manage-
union, non-exempt.
Not, well, I'll call it non-exempt, okay, so, but management won't receive that 3% benefit.
Our phone systems just went down.
Great,
What? No phone.
okay.
So I can't hear you. I'm like, what happened?
What's going on?
And they're all that way too.
Okay. We'll take care of that as soon as the board meeting's over. So, where were we? The 3%. The cost of living plus 3, that combination is what Carl's proposing for all employees.
yeah, that's what I thought.
Right.
So not just, the 3% would also go to management. Is what he's.
I just wanted to talk about the paragraph below that one.
Right, okay. This is explaining why there's that 3%. But that, yeah, 3% would then, we align non-exempt for, the payroll deduction.
Well, I'm not following that, because to me, those 3% are two separate 3%. They're totally separable.
Well, I don't believe that was his intent.
No. I
Then
see
I
it,
don't know what I don't know what we're doing,
That
saying.
the three, well, for management, you're right, they're not separate. For non-exempt, they are separate. I mean, they're combined in this paragraph, meaning he proposes giving this, in this case, he didn't know what it was at the time, but 6.4 plus 3% to all employees, then that, of that 9.4%, 3% for the non-exempt would go towards their retirement health savings. And, okay, in our cases too, it would do
yeah,
that too,
everybody, yeah.
because we currently do that. Anyway, management currently pays out of our wages, 3% to the health retirement savings account.
So last year, everybody got the COLA of 5%,
Yes,
correct?
yes,
And out of that, management did their 3% into the thing. Okay, so this year, if we did the 6.4 plus 3%, everybody gets the 6.4 plus everybody gets 3%, and the 3% goes into the retirement healthcare package
that's correct.
for everybody,
Yes,
right?
That is correct.
Yeah, I'm not following it yet.
It would just be
Sorry.
a continuation of ours, because we already have one. The non-exempt would then be able to have one that they can contribute outside of the normal, if you have more than a certain number of PTO hours, or if they leave that percentage over 120 hours goes into that health retirement savings account, but then all employees would have the same or similar, I don't know if it's all the same or not, but a retirement health savings account.
Right, we know that paragraph two definitely gets us to
Yes.
that,
Yes,
that they're all gonna have this 3% payroll deduction.
yes, every employee, regardless of.
So are you thinking there's another 3%? What's the other 3%
It's,
that you're thinking, Raj?
Well, the way I read this is that under Carl's proposal, we're gonna do a 7.5% COLA plus 3%
Mhm.
to make up for last year.
no, 7.5 was last year and the board gave.
Well, I'm sorry,
I know
Right.
that.
the
It's 6.4.
this year we're doing, okay, 6.4 plus 3% to everybody.
Correct.
And then I would read this as, in addition to that, we're gonna contribute a 3% to go into the payroll deduction plan for non-exempt employees.
Rogue Valley Sewer is not the one contributing to that retirement health savings account. It would be each employee contributes that 3% of their wages to the health retirement, whatever retirement. health savings
Their
account.
wages goes up 3%, but then it goes into the health retirement fund from their wages.
I see what he's looking at. It says the additional 3% this year would make up for last year's difference. This would be for
Right.
all employees. We would then amend our retirement health savings plan
Cause right
to
now,
include a 3%. So I see where you're coming from.
cause right now our plan says only management
Right.
has 3%, but in order to do all employees, we just have to redo that contract, so then 3% would be taken out of everyone's check free tax and going into the retirement.
I mean, if you're okay with it, we're not gonna argue with you, Roger. But I don't think that was Carl's intent.
No, that was not
I
Carl's
couldn't
intent.
with a straight face say that. It was-
Yeah, no, and it's not, and this 3% is not a contribution by Rogue Valley Sewer as the company. It is a deduction, a payroll deduction.
Yeah, I understand that.
Right.
So I guess another way you can see it too is at 6.5, 6.4 COLA, the 3% to make up from last year that we didn't get, that we talked about getting this year, but still bad. So giving everybody that. And then changing our retirement plan to not just have managers contribute 3%, but all employees contribute 3% into the retirement plan. So as a added benefit to the employees that they can now contribute forced to, or, mandated, but so there's that 3%. They're not getting this huge 9.4% raise. They're getting the 6.4 COLA, and we're giving you this added benefit of putting 3% into your retirement. So that's another way that you can see that. It is huge.
So staff is gonna look at it like they got a 6.4% raise and management got a 9.4% raise. Because they didn't, they're not seeing any of this money. It goes into their retirement.
Or that we're already doing it and have been doing it for years. I mean, that's all part of management's requirement from day one was to put that
But
3%.
I'm just showing how he's gonna be perceived.
Yeah,
Sure.
I see what Roger's getting.
Oh, yeah.
Because
I thought that the 3% HR would be contributed by RVSS, not the employee.
No,
no, it's the employee.
No, it's RHS.
And I thought that we were planning on, giving them separate from COLAs and everything. I thought we were basically doing a 3% raise to
Make up.
staff what I'll call staff as management, you know, just to make up. You know, so that they have the same retirement benefit as management. Do we need to wait? I guess we need to work on this a little bit. Do we want to discuss paragraph 1? Or do you want to wait for our whole staff or?
Let's
I feel a lot comfortable waiting for the entire.
Yeah, I'm good with waiting for, and having Jim,
Full board.
Jim and Mike here. Cause then we get perspectives from all of us, and that's a good idea, always.
Okay. And moving on to the next item on the manager's report.
So, I mean, so you have Carl kind of adjust, I mean, clarify those paragraphs, I guess.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
We will be working on that for the next, over the next month.
Even pie charts,
And another.
showing you this pie chart, this pie chart.
Oh my gosh, he loves pie charts.
And bar
He
charts.
said he's gonna be excited about that.
I like pie charts a little bit better than bar charts.
He's rested, he'll be ready.
We do. Do we
My
feel
church
confident
made me
enough to throw
hungry, but I
out,
like
talk
it.
about 401A? adjustment?
No.
Okay.
Okay,
No, that's something we need to talk about with Carl first. Let's not muddy the waters.
Understood.
Yes. So then the Gold Hill, I'm hoping that
Oh, Shane can't. type
Shane
in.
is on his cell phone. Are you there, Shane?
Oh,
Okay. So, Gold Hill, there was a meeting on the 1st of February. That included Carl, Shane, and Kevin James, our treatment.
our treatment guru.
The treatment dude. And, Carl seemed pretty confident that someone would be hired to replace Rogue Valley Sewer. There were two agencies there, the same agency that does Rogue River, and I can't remember the name of that one. And then one that does treatment for some of the parks, national parks systems
Okay, like Crater Lake or
around the
something.
state. I don't know if it's Crater Lake, but they do some others.
Okay,
What was it?
I think, yeah, it doesn't matter. They're just mostly parks, to state parks and
Yeah,
other
yeah.
recreational facilities.
Yeah. And then they're gonna award the contract. This is from their website. The 27th of March is on their calendar. And the start date would be April 7th of this year. So we're hoping that that would be, it's gonna be the case.
well, if it's whoever gets it, should work out for them. If the company that does Rogue River gets them, that's like right there next to them.
Right,
So,
right there. So, and they are the ones who had it before we took over as well.
oh, that's interesting.
Yes. But again, we don't know what is going to happen.
Well, and things have,
March 27th.
in that time change, things have changed, so, yeah, we'll see.
Better.
Yeah. We feel it's very much for the better.
Yeah.
So we received a letter on, oh, that's later. We received a letter from DEQ. Yes, DEQ about some answers on our annual report. And to sum it up, we've taken care of all the 3 items that were on that report, so we're all good now.
Yeah.
And then the board, do you have any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay. The board dinner is scheduled for Saturday, April 15th at Edenvale Winery. We have the facility reserved from 5 to 9, but we don't know when you'd like to start it. And Carl would recommends including Joe Kellerman on the invite list and wondered if you had any other ideas of who else to invite.
The usual suspects.
Usual suspects, and besides the managers and the board.
Well, usually we like Chuck, and we usually write past board members. And
They're all dead.
I was gonna say.
I
There's one who is not.
yeah, there's one that's
Wayne.
not.
Wayne Brown.
Yeah, and I thought of that as soon as I did this, so. But that's who usually,
Terry,
and Terry,
Terry second.
yeah,
because he's on.
Do you include spouses as well?
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah. So you'd like Chuck and Marty? Yeah. Terry.
I like talking to Jill's wife, so,
I don't know, Bob Strasser.
yeah.
Is that
He's
somebody?
been invited before.
How come? I like.
Because he
I'm
always
okay
said it
with
that
them. I
way.
hadn't seen them.
I think he was on when we first invited him, he was, on Metro City Council.
He
Yeah,
was on city council.
Was it?
Yeah,
yeah,
Oh, he was.
he was,
a long time ago, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure who he is now.
I don't-
He's a likable fellow.
Yeah.
He's entertainment, right?
He could be
there you
entertaining.
Lee Mills is usually on the list. He's
Right.
not our attorney anymore, but.
Right,
yeah.
he has been, okay.
And that's what I meant about the people that we almost always every year.
The ones we've been invited in the past.
Yeah.
Okay. Plus Wayne Brown,
And because they have a connection to the district in one way or
right?
It's always that David daughter. He's probably more affable to Central Point than he is. Has he ever been involved at all with robust sewer service?
I don't know who it is, I don't know who he is.
He's one of our, what's his title now? Commissioner.
Yeah, commissioner.
another. Yeah, no,
I've been here for 30, almost 2 years.
We have to invite all of them. if we're gonna have
Yeah,
problems.
you don't want that,
no, yeah, no, we're good.
too many valuable discussions that we have all drinking wine.
Too many politicians.
Yeah, too many, you don't want any more.
Yeah, yeah, in the future, after going to the conference and listening to Frank about getting our local politicians, I'm probably once I talk to Carl, invite Pam Marsh and Jeff Golden,
Why would you want to do that?
because
It's
of the
a,
lagoon.
Oh.
And because the lagoon's gonna be a cool thing. That's just one thing, but I'm gonna talk to Carl when he gets back. And that would we wanna make sure that we're on the radar. Not just as this district, but special districts in general, and we have things to offer. We have cool stuff, and yes, I know I know Pam. I know Jeff too. And I can talk to both of them. Doesn't mean I have to agree with them. It means I can talk to
I'm
them.
glad you can talk.
I can, so.
yeah, no, okay, Kenny's ringing the bell, that sort of, that more or less took Carl's spot on the board of directors for SDO. Frank, the executive director, he's constant, they really make a push at the state level to get funding, even just awareness that special districts exist, because it always goes to cities and counties. And the representatives and, the legislature, they have no idea what a special district even is. They think we're all school districts.
I'm pretty sure Jeff is clueless and Pam Marsh is probably the same. And then we've got a brand new one that I've never met, and I would like to meet her. She is a Republican, which, whatever. And so I can contact these people, so.
Yeah.
But I want to talk to Carl first and get some, before I start doing stuff. Besides that, I have to win my reelection too.
Right. Yeah.
Just
So, and then,
remember that you're a policymaker, you're not a politician.
That's true.
right. So when do we usually start the board dinner? Is that 6?
Like at 6, yeah.
Are you okay with that time?
I'm good with that.
Yeah.
Oh, I get there at 5 and pre-function.
I think cocktails from 6 to 6:30 and 6:30 usually when they start dinner.
I was an old frat boy. I know what that means.
That works.
Even I know what that means. Okay, so then we are the claims, I believe, unless you have any other questions about
Anything.
anything.
I do want to make note on the claims, if you guys see Eagle Point has no dollar amount there. I just hit 1150. They're having some IT issues. And so we will be receiving our sewer revenue from them tomorrow, and then I will transfer over their franchise fee portion. But I think this is the first time that you guys have got me, expense report without Eagle Point on there, and we were busted trying to get it in time by 10 minutes when I got the email.
So you want us to make note on that when we do that?
You need a motion to pay the bills?
Yes,
Make a motion to pay the bills as per discussed.
I'll second that.
okay, now we do roll call, right?
Kate Harrison,
Yeah,
Richard Tom,
Yes.
Michael Parsons.
Yes.
okay, the bills are paid, the meeting is done, you guys are awesome,
Now we gotta figure out the fund, yeah.
and we adjourn.
Good job.